Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Quick Lead series, a home for productive and impactful conversations around ICT4 development, pivoting on improved livelihoods, education, advocacy, and socioeconomic development. I'm your host again, Grace, and I'm joined by my wonderful co-host,
Thomas Ayuaki.
And thank you very much, Tom, for making the time. And today we have a wonderful discussion ahead and a wonderful team still leading the discussion. I believe, as we all know, we are celebrating the International Girls' Day in ICT later this week. But for us, it's a whole week celebration. It's a wonderful time to be here. And I believe it's a wonderful time still to be able to talk about the significant role that tech is playing in shaping the socio-economic landscape. And we come together as a globe to be able to celebrate this day on the fourth Thursday of April annually for the purpose of creating awareness on the need for more girls and women in the ICT sector. As I mentioned earlier, tech is continuing to play a significant role in shaping the socio-economic landscape. And with the precedented progress that we've had with it, we know that it has then created such a growth in the job market space, with researchers even talking about at least 50% of the job market by 2030 comprising of STEM-related competencies and skill. So with such great strides, the question still remains, the challenge still remains. How can we as a society then be able to encourage and push for gender inclusivity within the tech space as well as the STEM space? And I believe as the African Center for Women Information Communications Technology, we're at a very unique point. We're at a very unique point to be able to talk about some of these aspects, and especially the aspect of gender inclusivity in the tech space. We are championing this specific cause by skilling young women and girls throughout our nation, regional-wise still, I think at about 25,000 averagely
25,000
in a year annually, yes, Tom. And this is something that we're very passionate about, digital skilling through, whether it's from the basic level, from the intermediate, all the way to the advanced level. And we try as much as we can still to make sure that we support them through the entrepreneurial journey, their job market search, through mentorship, through job linkage workshops, industry expert workshops. It's a holistic process here at the organization. And to top that all off, we make sure that we create awareness about the STEM careers, about the tech space, how our young women can be able to integrate tech in their daily life. And this is why we believe we stand here today, we sit here today to be able to talk about this matter. And we usually work very, very closely with our beneficiaries. And this is their bread and butter. Through the young women and girls that we train, we are able to speak about the impact as an organization. And today here, we are joined by one of our outstanding beneficiaries. I'll allow a moment or two for her to introduce herself to us as we just dive into the conversation entirely.
Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Tom, for inviting me here into this podcast today. My name is Cecilia Ouko, and I'm alumnus of ICT. I studied the data science track, and currently I'm working as a project manager and a software engineer.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's great. I didn't even know that you had pivoted to software engineering. I think that's great. And that really just speaks to the theme of the day, which is digital skills for life, and maybe our sub-theme as, inclusivity within the tech space. What about this theme, Cecilia, resonates with you, the digital skilling for life, and why is it so important that you shine a light on this objective?
Okay, what I believe is very important for a girl child today or for the future girl child is the sustainability, and that is in terms of their career or in terms of their financial freedom. So digital skills for life to me means that as long as a girl child is alive, they'll always be able to provide for themselves career-wise and also money-wise.
And that's important. I think that belief that as a girl child you can be able to walk into spaces, command those spaces, exist, gives your input, work around it and still be able to thrive. I think it's something that all the ladies and the girls and young women listening would love to hear. As you can see, we have somebody already thriving. You're here with us, Cecilia, you're thriving in the space. So this is something that's amazing to hear even for the team that's outside there.
So take us through your journey from the point of view of what you are doing now. how it all started, and what in particular piqued your interest?
Okay, currently I'm doing software engineering and also project management, and I'm building a product at the moment. And starting my career in tech, I started as a digital marketer, and I got interest. Specifically, I met the word SEO, and I asked myself, what does this SEO mean? And the answers drove me towards web development. And from there, I got interest into web development, UX design, and with time, I got this much deeper knowledge in venturing into software engineering, and I started self-learning software engineering. And up to this place, I can say I'm in a place where I can build a product from the design stage to the final stage, and also still manage a team that is building the same product.
That's interesting when you look at your entry point. So I'm assuming that by you starting from the SEO space, you are particularly interested in marketing within that area, and that's what maybe prompted you to say, okay, can I be able to develop a website that optimizes on that resource? So what were the first days like for you going into the web development space? What are some of the things that really challenged you, and how did you navigate through just learning and at the same time implementing some of your ideas?
Okay, I would say the most challenges that I faced, maybe the first one was I don't know where to start. I didn't have a mentor to tell me, do this, follow this path, or start here and end here as a web developer. So I just ventured into it and I learned everything. I didn't know that maybe starting from the front end and going towards the back end would be easier. So that is one of the challenges that I faced. And then the other challenge that I faced was probably this is a career path that is male dominated. So you don't have the representation. You don't know who you can go to as a fellow woman to show you, like, this is done here. When you want to do this, you can venture into this and that. And probably I'd say the lack of mentorship in the space. The tech space, I'd say it's a blooming career in Kenya and Africa as a whole. So there's a gap between the professionals and the newbies. So you don't get proper mentorship between you finishing your studies and you venturing into the career full time.
So in your honest opinion, what do you think are some of the challenges that cut across the gender divide and the age to some extent? And what would be your advice to any young girl trying to pursue a career in tech-enabled skills?
So I'd refer to the previous challenges that I already mentioned. And maybe another one that I can top up on is the lack of inclusivity and lack of visibility. We don't have enough women in the tech space, or we don't see enough women in the tech space that can take up the mentorship or the leadership role to bring up these young girls that are already being bred up for technology.
Mm-hmm.
So any advice I would have for a young girl or a young woman who's just starting in tech is attend tech events. There are very many tech events, and the tech community in Africa or the tech community in Kenya right now is very proactive in organizing tech events. So from newbies to advanced techies, they can always find events to attend, and then join tech communities. So I'm part of a tech community that was brought up between me and my peers who are facing the same challenge. So in this community, we have all tech career tracks, starting from data science to software engineering, UX design, digital marketing. And our main goal is to hold the hands of the newbies, because us as newbies, we didn't know where to start. So we are here building a community that will hold the hands of the newbies and tell them, here is the place to start, here is where to do your job search, and here is how to write your CV, here is how to prepare for a job interview and all that.
Yeah, I think that's important, because for me, when I look back, and I'm saying this acknowledging that I'm of a different gender, but I would like to believe that the challenges cut across. I think one of the things that we've always told young people is that the communities are there, but it's up to you to take that first step. And if you don't find those communities, then you have to almost create them on your own. So do you believe that as a way forward, and I know we'll touch on this when we go deeper into the interview, do you believe that it's high time we start encouraging more and more young women, and even just men in general, but more importantly, more and more young women to start creating these communities on their own and then figure out, what learning paths are there for us? What careers can we be able to explore? So do you think that that's something that needs to be put out there more and more? Or do you believe that they should start by, first of all, exploring the existing communities and then using that knowledge and insight to be able to build on their own? I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Yes. I would really advise young women to currently explore the communities, because inside technology as a career path, there's also community engagement, there's also community leadership. So you have to have the skills as a community leader in order to be able to come up with a community of yourself. So yes, I'd really advise those who are who want to step up into leadership in the tech space to first of all explore the communities that are there so that they can learn.
Yeah, and obviously it's not based on just the tech side alone. It touches on leadership, how to work within the individual and team dynamic, things like that. Those are things that you'd want them to be exposed to before they develop their own communities.
Yes, true.
Okay.
And thank you. And you've mentioned very key things, Cecilia, and even for Tom. We've talked about where we are as a society, where we believe we stand in regards to inclusivity, in regards to, and I think, let me just regurgitate, there are women, but we're not seeing them enough. We need to be able to see ourselves in these spaces, speak on them, represent ourselves in these spaces. You're encouraging all of us, young women and girls listening out there, to walk into these communities, take that first step among 10,000 of them that you'll continue to take, but take that first step, log yourself into these communities, connect, network. And that's very, very key. And I was just hoping then to hear from you, Cecilia, throughout this journey that you've had. You've talked about your early beginnings, the challenges that you have faced, how they have shaped your outlook in the career, the plans that you have. Can you dive a little bit in without selling everything for us here? Can you dive a little bit and talk about some of the specific goals you're about to hit? What do you think is a target for you, short and long term, from this point?
Okay, so first and foremost, I would say currently I'm building a product, and I'm building this product with my peers. These peers are people I came to know a year ago. And within the tech space, we didn't have the right mentorship to delve into the tech space. So we sat down and agreed, okay, newbies need some mentorship in order to have their feet fully into tech. So we came up with a plan, and we did a market research, and we did a design, and currently we are building a product that is soon to be launched into the market. And my long-term career goal in tech is to delve deeper into leadership, because the current position that I am in, it's a leadership position in the product. And also I'm getting into blockchain, and blockchain is also something new within tech that is coming up in Africa as a whole. So in blockchain as well, I'm in a leadership position that will see women get empowered financially.
So I just wanted to ask a question about the product, if you don't mind. Just take us through what problem it's trying to solve and how it plans on going about that process.
Okay, so the product, it's a mentorship platform, and the problem we are trying to solve is a lack of mentorship in Africa specifically, if not in Kenya. We realized there are no tailor-made mentorship platforms that can mentor young African professionals who are venturing into tech. So if you take, for example, a popular mentorship platform that is ADP List. So if you join ADP List as an African techie, you'll be mentored on, I don't want to say on a white perspective, but on a I'd say on a global perspective. They don't customize. They don't contextualize their mentorship to suit an African young techie. And so we saw that gap, and we sat down and we came up with the idea of building a product.
And it's amazing, the fact that even through your journey, you've gotten to the point that now you can identify gaps and you can actively work to solve some of the problems that you're seeing within the gap. Working with peers, we're talking about community engagement, working with your peers still to be able to achieve this, to be able to work out and give the next lady behind you what you could not have. And that's something very, very encouraging to all of us here, and even to us, you and me, Tom. Something very encouraging to let us know that even as you're trying to walk into the space and you see as if there's no one there to help you, people already in the journey are trying to look back. They're working actively to look back to make sure there's a hand holding you as you walk through the journey. I think that's very important. Congratulations on the product.
You.
I hope we'll get an invite to the launch.
Yes, of
maybe
course.
let's celebrate. That's a wonderful initiative.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I think even for me, not to bring it back too much, but the fact that you've identified that we maybe need to bring the mentorship aspect a little bit closer to home. I think when you look at some of the global initiatives, especially ones that have been set aside for women of color, it's not from the point of view of trying to isolate a race or a tribe. It's about making sure that you build an environment, because mentorship is also about creating friendships, building trust and all of that.
True.
So I like the fact that you've, in your own way, isolated the gap that you've seen women in Africa basically facing when it comes to being exposed to mentorship platforms out there. And I think it's a big opportunity. If you don't mind, we can be able to create a platform where you can discuss that with some of our managers here and see how in future young girls who are pursuing some of our career paths here in the organization can be able to connect to such a solution, because I really think that there's a space for that. And if I'm being honest, even as a young man growing up, if you're telling me that that's the direction we are taking with mentorship, then I see a future for gender inclusivity. So again, congratulations. I think that's going to be very awesome. And as Grace has said, the invite is something we are looking forward to. Yeah.
Okay, you shall sure receive an invite.
Thank you very much. And for all of us here today who've joined us, this is what it means to have more women in the space, in the tech space, in the STEM space, identifying gaps, coming up with solutions, inclusivity, contextualization, trying to build up our community, our representation in the tech and STEM space like we've mentioned. And we are here for it. We want to continue to thrive. We want to continue to encourage, create awareness. This space is not closed. Like Tom has mentioned, it's not isolated. It's for all of us to walk in, take that first step, which I believe for us, this is the first step for you as you're listening here today with us. I hope this is the first step for you. I hope Cecilia's story then is the first step for you to walk into this wonderful, wonderful space. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you in the next episode.